We know too much sugar and too many sweets may be bad for our waistline, but could they be bad for your brain? According to a new study, scientists have found a link between glucose metabolism in the brain and symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. This was in a study done at the National Institute of Aging. And it was one of those things where they were looking at patients and they noticed that if there was a difficult or a problem with glucose metabolism in the brain and these levels of glucose built up in the brain, that it was associated with more of the plaques that you might see in people who develop Alzheimer's disease. And it's not necessarily that surprising, Drew.
No, because we know that sugars, refined sugars, have what we call pro-inflammatory effect. We've talked about it in the context of having an effect causing certain types of cancers. We've had oncologists on the show saying that, supporting that diet is so important, sugar metabolism. It makes sense to me that it would apply to the brain.
And what's interesting is it's
aging.
not as though we can fully break down what's going on here, because look, you may not even eat that many sweets, but for whatever reason, your brain might have trouble with
metabolizing,
with this metabolic process. But that's where the good news comes in, which is in looking at treatments into the future, scientists may begin to look and are looking at certain clinical trials where maybe a type 2 diabetes drug might help prevent Alzheimer's. So to me, this is more about, hey, potential option, potential hope in terms of
another
prevention.
reason, let food be your medicine, right?
Absolutely, and if you have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, a family member has, then maybe reduce that sugar intake, because that could help the de-escalation of all of those symptoms that come, like memory problems and all of the things that these plaques will affect.
Well, and it gets back to in medicine, we don't always have everything figured out, but we do know that inflammation in the body is a bad thing. Anything you can do in your day-to-day life to decrease that inflammation, watching what you eat, we know staying active, improving blood flow to the brain, all these things can play a role in the long run.